Hey guys, it's Enemy Kidman. Today I'm going to be reviewing the first episode of Goblin Slayer. And I gotta say, as far as introductions go, this episode hit on the majority of the positive points. Because for one, I like how at the very least in the start, it kind of makes you feel like it's going to be a bit lighthearted. But at the same time, it kind of puts you on edge because it starts out with this epic, uber-looking knighted dude walking towards our main priestess protagonist, and it makes it seem like this lady's gonna die or something. Because at first I thought it could have been maybe like some kind of goblin wearing individual with like an armor or some shit. And I like how it kind of builds a bit of tension, because at first it kind of keeps you on guard, because when it introduces the priestess and this whole party full of adventurers that are also rookies, and normally in these type of fantasy-like settings, normally you would think that everything would be fine with our party, because the people in her party have, that she joined, they have quirky-like personalities and all that. And you would think that normally they'd succeed, but then out of the back of your mind, you have that first sequence and you're like, nah, this ain't gonna just be all cherry blossoms and honey. There's gonna be some vinegar and a lot of tragic shit. And it kind of builds up towards that pretty well, because you start out with some of the dialogue where the priestess joins this party and they mention that they don't have potions. And then you notice how one of the party members, the boy in the group, this dude has such a long sword that when he tries swinging it, it hits the top of the cape. So slowly it builds up the death flags and making it seem like they're gonna fucking die. And then when it finally gets to the moment where they conflict with the goblins and they start fighting them, at first it makes it seem like they have a shot until they start ganging up on them, and you're like, holy shit, shit gets real, because the soundtrack was intense. And simultaneously, during the episode, when there are combat scenes, these individuals are stabbed by like these daggers, and at first you don't make much mind of it, but then as the episode progresses and as the priestess tries to do some healing, that shit don't work, because they're actually poison-induced blades, making it feel much more tragic when characters die. So I like that about this episode. It makes you think that the party has hope, only for it to come crashing fucking down. Especially when it hyped up one of the party members to that they studied in some kind of academy. So good job on the episode. It does a great job of establishing how powerful these goblins are, because you could do all the studying in academies in the world, but if you're not mentally prepared, you're fucked. So good on the anime for that. And then it does an epic job of introducing the Goblin Slayer, because when this man shows up, you get a tell that this dude is interesting, because just the way he's intelligently analyzing the goblin's actions and like taking them down, and then with like the gruff voice, it really has an air mystique that makes you want to watch even more. So that's another positive about this episode. And then simultaneously, I like how as the episode progresses, you can see the priestess growing up a bit mentally when he tells the priestess to do things like, that when it comes to goblin children, you gotta slay them, because if not, they learn the mistakes from the previous goblins. And then also like how you can see the priestess get some character development, because after they get through that small goblin situation, the priestess learns to at least to wear more armor and to equip herself and be more prepared near the end when they're seemingly going on another goblin slaying quest. So I like that. So because simultaneously you get introduced to, or at least our main cast, and you get character development all in the span of an episode, and then you already have goals in place for our main crew, which is to slay goblins. So it's gonna make the motivations and the conflicts in the show much more interesting now that they have some semblance of an end goal, at least for a bit. So all in all, the episode did everything I want to see from a first episode. And then the artwork in this so when it comes from a story and character standpoint, it was pretty great, at least as for the first episode. And then for everything else, the art was really good. I'd say the only thing was the CG night armor animation for the Goblin Slayer. It looked a bit clunky in some scenes, and the animation was a bit off in some of the action sequences, because you could tell they had a few still shots here and there, but the animators do a good job of angling action scenes so that it really doesn't get in the way of your enjoyment of the still shots. So that's a plus too, showing that the director, even though he seemingly has a small amount of resources, he does a good job of what he has. And taking all these factors into consideration, I'm going to give this episode an 8.5 out of 10 because it is pretty badass, and I'd say it's my favorite anime of the season so far. So anyways guys, comment down your thoughts on the episode below in the comment section. Rate the video, subscribe if you want to see more Goblin Slayer reviews. And for fans of the manga or the light novels, how did you feel? How did this episode stack up to those? And I really recommend any of you who like fantasy animes with like a hint of darkness to check it out. Or hell, even any anime fan, I recommend you guys to check this out. This anime is really, really interesting. And the music is really blood pumping. It gets you into the mood. And I like that because you can go from cheery, good music that kind of makes you want to hum it towards hardcore action badass music that's kind of reminiscent of like a Dark Souls or a Doom game. So really got nothing but positive things to say about this anime. Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week if you come back for more. Bye bye.